Anyone who knows me knows that I love Anne of Green Gables, the whole series. In particular, I love Rilla of Ingleside, which is actually based on her daughter during World War One. And a few years ago, I produced a show that I helped adapt from the book to the stage, and I played Rilla, and it was a dream come true. It was so much fun. I loved it. And today I just bought a book from Indigo, let's see if you can see that, called LM Montgomery and War. And this book looks like it's going to be a lot about Rilla, and the Blythes are quoted. I think it's a bit about Emily, one of the Emily books, but I am so thrilled to read it because this book came out a year after I did Rilla. Now Rilla, I called it Rilla of the Island because the term Rilla of Ingleside is actually trademarked. And I am really excited to read this book. I'm probably going to be talking lots about it. I haven't even done any kind of introduction. I was just like, I have to talk about this. Yeah, and war is a topic that really interests me in particular. Just the idea of these young men who, especially during World War One, they had no idea what they were signing up for. They're like, oh, we'll get some glory, we'll be men, and we'll make our country proud, and we'll be back by Christmas. And then, they go over, so many of them got killed, so many of them got maimed, and they came back and they were changed. They were shell-shocked, what we now know as PTSD, but people didn't know that, understand that. Nellie McClung talks in her autobiography about how in her second autobiography, she wrote how she thinks that men coming back from World War II, it'll be a bit better for them because people will understand a bit more how to treat them and be a little bit more kind and understanding, whereas they didn't understand that at all after World War One. They're like, what do you mean? Why are you having nightmares? Or why are you having such problems? Like, the war's over, it's okay. They didn't understand the trauma. And obviously we're still learning a lot about trauma, but they understood a little bit better. So, yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I think it'll be talking a bit about the Blythes are quoted and how, like, basically everything she wrote in Rilla of Ingleside, she kind of took back in the Blythes are quoted because it was so, she realized we didn't just win. We didn't just have this victory. Like, it was all for nothing. The whole point, like, everything that we fought for, that we worked for in World War One, in the Great War, was all for nothing because it's happening again. And that may have, well, of course it contributed to her depression and bipolar, and it may have been one of the reasons why she may have committed suicide. It's not for sure, but it looks like it was a suicide because she died from an overdose. It may have been accidental, but it's clear from her journals that she was sad enough to die. That was a sentence that I read in, it's called House of Dreams, and it's a biography about LM Montgomery. So I read that. Now I am reading the complete journals of LM Montgomery. This one's from 1889 to 1900. Signed this out of the library, but I also own, well, I don't have the dust jacket on, so you can't really tell, but it's the selected journals of LM Montgomery, which came out in 1985, and her journals weren't available to the public until 1992, which is 50 years after LM Montgomery's death. But then this one came out in 2012, so 60 years after her death, and it covers all the missing journals. So even though I own the older one, I've been underlining and annotating and writing all this stuff, I'm actually reading the complete one because I want all those little in-between journals. And then I have another one. It's from, I can't remember the years exactly, but it's like the next volume. Sorry, my hair is really crazy right now. But yeah, then after I read those two, I'm going to read this one, which looks fantastic. And I keep telling myself I'm going to stop buying books because I want to have all my books read so that I can just read books from the library. But I only have 3 more books left that I own that I haven't read. It's this one, which I've just barely started, and then the other journal set that I have of hers. So after I read those 3, I will have read everything that I own, which is amazing, incredible. where was I going with that? I don't remember. Probably doesn't matter. But yeah, I've read all of LM Montgomery's novels. That was like my project of 2018. I started beginning of 2018. I read all her novels and hundreds of her short stories, like hundreds of them. I think she has 500 short stories, and I've read about 200 of them, maybe 300, but a lot of those aren't published. So, yeah, I hope that I can read all of them, all the short stories. I guess I should say I have not read The Blythes Are Quoted, and the reason I haven't read The Blythes Are Quoted is because I love Rilla of Ingleside so much. I love it so much that I turned it into a show. I spent 2 years of my life constantly working on it, and I want to do the show again. And The Blythes Are Quoted really renounces everything in Rilla. So I just haven't brought myself to reading it because it was written out of a very depressed place. Like LM Montgomery, in her writing she tried to bring joy to the world, bring hope to the world. The hope that she wasn't feeling, she wrote the hope that she needed to hear. And in The Blythes Are Quoted, she's just given up basically. Of course, she's so upset that this war is happening. Her older son is just a wreck. Like, he was doing all kinds of horrible things, like exposing himself in public and having an affair, giving his wife STIs, like just horrible, horrible stuff. And her husband also had very crazy mental health problems, like just so sad. And then the one son that she was really proud of, Stuart, it looked like he was going to be called up to war in World War II. So she finishes this manuscript, The Blythes Are Quoted. She either drops it off at a publisher or has someone drop it off at a publisher, and the next day she was found dead. So really, they assumed it was suicide when Stuart, her son, found her. He assumed it was suicide. They don't know for sure if it was, but yeah, so I'm really excited to read all these things. I think she had just fascinating life. So sad. Incredibly sad, but so interesting, and it's really important to talk about mental health and just lift the stigma, I guess, release the stigma, whatever, it doesn't matter. I think it's really important to talk about. So yeah, I'm so excited to dive into these. I'm really enjoying reading this first journal. She's delightfully boy crazy. She's like 14, 15 years old, and she's saying like, oh, I'm almost 15 years old. Life will just really be beginning. It's going to be amazing. I'm like becoming a young woman. It's going to be wonderful. And that's exactly what Rilla says in the book. She's 14 turning 15, and she's like, these are going to be the happiest years of my life. Oh my goodness. And then it turns out that those are the war years. But that doesn't happen for Lucy Maud Montgomery. She moves out to Saskatchewan for a year to live with her father. And it's a terrible year because her stepmother is awful, but she loves her father who's so good, and she makes some friends. And yeah, it's just fascinating. So, yeah, as you can tell, I can talk about this forever, which is why I just spontaneously started filming with no kind of intro about what I'm doing or why I'm filming. I just had to talk about it. So, yeah. I guess that's all for now. I might talk more later, especially the more I read about this. Maybe I'll find more exciting things. So yeah, I don't know who I'm talking to right now, so if I'm talking to friends and family, I love you all. I hope you're reading great books. If I am talking to my future self, I hope you're reading good books, and I love you too. All right, bye.